Hey, Writerly Besties, and welcome to the Writing with Anna New podcast, where we talk about all things writing. I just wanted to say a huge welcome to everyone. Hello, and welcome to my new series, my new podcast series on my YouTube channel. I am so excited for all of you to be here. If you are listening in, I truly just want to thank you so much. It means the world, so thank you. However, in today's episode, we're going to be talking about how to stay motivated to write. This is something I've always wanted to talk about on my channel, something that I struggle with, that you probably struggle with, that everyone struggles with. So let's go ahead and get into it. So first off, I just want to say writing a book is hard. People don't understand if you haven't, been a writer for a long time. Writing a book truly is difficult. I had only finished my first book, a few days ago, and I've been writing for 4 or so years. I can tell you it's just so difficult sometimes, and I'm sure you guys can relate. Just having to force myself to sit down at my desk, pull out my laptop, and start typing, it is truly a challenge. But the thing is that it shouldn't be a challenge. It shouldn't be so hard to write, to do something, that we love. So today I just wanted to talk about, firstly, the question that I want to ask you guys, and that is, why do you feel demotivated? I'm not sure if that's a word also. I'm just saying, what makes you feel not motivated? So what kind of stops yourself from, getting that fire in your stomach? What kind of stops you, being so excited for your projects, being so thrilled and just enjoying every single part of the writing journey? Of course, there are many parts of the writing journey that we just are so dreading, like querying, which I have not even thought about. I'm not kidding. But, that's another story. So I wanted to ask you guys, what makes you feel demotivated? When I asked myself, I kind of thought about a few different things. So firstly, I think commitments and having a lot of things in your life, being so busy with school, with uni, with work, with family commitments, it truly does get extremely busy, and that kind of makes our writing, go on the back burner. And this is not good because I feel like with that happening, we kind of just distance ourselves, right, from our writing hobby. So when you are not writing, when you kind of have to undertake other commitments instead of writing, you're not spending time with your characters. You know what I mean? You're not spending time working through your plot, going through your world's lore. You're just not spending time in your story. And by kind of distancing yourself like that and not having, the space, the time, the energy just to put and just be with your story, it truly just kind of demotivates yourself, because why would you work on something that you haven't really touched in a long time? And that's why it is a lot harder for people to pull books or pull projects from their shelf that they had shelved a long time ago and get re-immersed into the story. For example, today I filmed a video where I was plotting one of my books. And this book, I kind of did all the world building for. I did everything. I did the character developments, and I loved it. I loved this story so much. But I had other pressing, really interesting stories that I wanted to continue writing instead. So I put this kind of on the shelf. And though today I was able to plot through, I think the first 5 chapters and the prologue, it truly did take me longer than I thought just to get re-immersed into the story. And by that kind of, thought, I kind of, almost think it is hard, working on a story, even writing a story and being consistent with it if you're not actually consistently spending time writing. And that should be kind of, self-explanatory, but I just thought it's interesting. By you not spending time writing and being kind of preoccupied with other things in your life, it does get demotivating. It just does, okay? But the second thing that kind of leads on from that is the lack of progress and the unrealistic expectations we put ourselves on and we put ourselves like against really does influence the way that we view our hobby and our, pursuit for writing. So when we do put unrealistic expectations on ourselves, it is demotivating because we're not seeing progress, okay? So by saying, okay, I'm going to write 3,000 words a day, okay, I'm going to finish this book in 3 months, that is, it's good for some people, but for most people, I feel like that unnecessary stress and pressure does really impact the way that we view writing and almost demotivates us, right? Sorry, I just burped. I'm sorry, low key, this is so weird. Okay, anyways, what was I saying? So, yeah, also the fact, I'm not sure about you, but I don't have many writer friends, and by not having people around you who can just like see your progress and stay up to date with your goals, your writing goals, and even just ask you, hey, how's that book going? Or like, hey, I really like that character you were talking about last time. What are they doing in your book? No one has ever asked me that ever in my life, right? So by having you, firstly, not being able to see your own progress in your book, but also secondly, other people not even knowing you're writing your book or that you have goals, it just makes you feel like you're doing it all for nothing, right? And that really just demotivates you because why would you put effort and energy into something when you feel like it's going nowhere? It's something extremely hard to come to terms with sometimes because writing truly is a very lonely journey when I really don't want it to be. So that's the reason, obviously, I started this channel to connect with other writers and also the reason I started this podcast so that there is a space for everyone to just be together and to talk about writing, something that we love because low-key, sometimes like writing, you need a break from writing, but you still love it so much. Like you want to like talk about it, That's the reason writer friends are so hard to come by, but they're gems. They're absolute gems. Anyways, that's not on the topic of this video, this podcast. But yeah, when we're talking about unrealistic expectations, when we're talking about the lack of progress, I just really want to kind of use this episode to give you some really good ways just to stay motivated and to not lose faith in your book and to continue and propel yourself forward and give yourself momentum in writing your book, okay? In the sense that, like, do you remember when you first started writing a particular project, which you were so excited for? You were absolutely ecstatic about. And you didn't really care about being demotivated because you weren't, right? You didn't really think like, oh, this goal of me writing 5,000 words a day might be a bit hard as soon as I start school again, but obviously you don't think about that because you're so excited, so you just write like for hours on end. And I want that to be how you are today, and I want that to continually be who you are in your writing throughout the week, throughout the month, throughout the year. So I'm going to give you some tips that I like to use to get myself back into the writing mood, to get myself motivated, excited about my projects, excited about my own freaking books, and hopefully a few of these things will help you guys. So first off, here are some really like straight away kind of tips. What do you call them? Like immediate tips, which kind of help and they're kind of self-explanatory, but I'm sure you guys have maybe heard of the 1 minute rule. The 1 minute rule is so good. All you do is you pull out your phone timer, you press play, you wait for a minute, and you do writing for 1 whole minute and see how you go. A really good thing that this kind of also allows you to kind of, you're allowed to see if you actually are in the writing mood because sometimes if you do that 1 minute and you just can't focus, you can't write, that's a bad space, a bad mental space to be in when you are writing because the reason you kind of get demotivated is because you kind of associate stress with your project. I hope some of you guys can relate to this, but Making sure you're in the writing mood is so important when you are writing. I know it is sometimes difficult when you aren't in the writing mood, but you need to get that, 100 words, that 1,000 words in that day, in that morning. But if you're not feeling it, I really strongly encourage you to instead turn to doing something else. So if I do that 1 minute and I'm just not focusing on this scene, I just get distracted. I just can't really, understand what's going on. I forgot there's a plot hole. I'm a bit stressed about that. Just stop writing and go on to something else. And not the sense that, like, just don't write, but work on your book in some sort of way. So if I can't write that scene, for example, I'll just stop and say, okay, hopefully I'll be in a better mental space. Like, next time I write that, I'm going to continue working on this book in another way. So I can maybe work on one of the character development, maybe one of the characters throughout the book. Maybe I need to kind of flesh out their process, their progress, and their characterization, right? So I can go onto my character development kind of document and start fleshing out some things. And that kind of helps me also think about the book, helps me maybe think about the scene also. So, not writing is a bad thing if you are having like a designated space and time to write, but writing something else really, really helps. So, for example, what I like to do is, I don't know if you guys have seen my writing vlog where I do like my morning writing sessions. But what I do is I work on 2 projects. So usually I spend like a few hours or like 1 hour, 2 hours on one. But sometimes I do get a little bit demotivated and like almost bored of my story. So that's why I move on to my second project. And that's also the reason I like to, actually write 2 projects at once, having 2 priority projects instead of working on the same project every single time. So the 2 tips I kind of talked about there is, of course, like the 1 minute tip and making sure that when you do write and you don't feel like writing, focus on something else in your book. And number 2, always have 2 priority projects on the top of your mind and in your documents so you're able to work on 2 at once. When you do get bored or stuck on the other, you can work on the other project. Okay, so the next tip is kind of self-explanatory, and that is writing sprints. If you haven't tried a writing sprint, definitely do. I have a really interesting relationship with writing sprints. Sometimes it really helps when I am really struggling finding, if I'm really just struggling focusing really. However, when I do want to just get something done, like a scene or a chapter, I just write until I finish. I don't take breaks. I don't even like drink my tea. I just like full on write and just like get it done. That's something that I like to do. I feel like breaks distract me instead of like helping me from getting distracted, which is kind of weird. So if you do want to try that out, just like write straight for like an hour. It really does help. Or like write straight until you finish, that chapter. That's kind of like what I like to do. But if you want to get motivated to write, just start doing writing sprints. I usually like to do, when I do writing sprints, is the 25-minute and the 5-minute break. So it's like 30 minutes and then I do another one and then another one. So try that out if you guys need that tip. However, the next tip, which I think is the most influential for like all writers, and that is to make Pinterest boards, make mood boards, and just have a Pinterest dedicated to like all your characters. Like have each Pinterest board and like for like each of your characters, right? And like if you are getting bored or like just demotivated or you're just not really feeling your story anymore and you want to get remotivated to actually continue writing that, just have a character profile in your Pinterest page so that you're able to actually write. Okay, my camera just died. I'm so sorry for the divergence of my thoughts, but let's get straight back into it. What was I saying? Okay, so yeah, mood boards, characters, development, Pinterest boards, just like having those things really makes me just so excited about my book because I feel like characters are so important in books and I say it so many times, but what do I always say? I say something. It's like characters don't happen. No, The book doesn't happen to the characters, so the character happens to the book. That's something I like to say, and that's why characters are so important. They mean so, so much to me when I am writing. So having like my own character profile, my own character Pinterest page really does help me get inspired to write my characters. So yeah, make sure you make those mood boards, make those character Pinterest, everything to do with that. Just like make them, you'll get straight into your book. You would want to write your book and just do that. You can even do that like at the start of your writing sprint, just to kind of think about your characters, get motivated to be like, oh my gosh, yes, I really want to make this scene cool. It really helps, at least for me. Okay, so that's that. Another thing that's almost similar, and that is to create writing playlists. I adore writing playlists. I tried to upload a playlist on my channel, but like it got copyrighted, so I could not upload it. But if you make your own, of course, it's totally fine. You can make character playlists for each of your characters, like what sort of music they would listen to, or like that just suits their vibe, their scenes. Or you can write like a playlist for your book, and I think that's the most popular thing. Also, if you do have a very specific scene that's like so epic and like something that is like a defining scene in your book, definitely make a whole playlist for that. Like if your character is like dying in the villain's arms, make a playlist about that. Like that is so, so cool. That just helps you get into the writing mood again and just get motivated. The next thing, the last two things I do want to talk about in regards to like tips to get motivated is to reread your own work. I don't understand why people don't do this, but when I am just like kind of out, waiting for the bus or like waiting for my class to start, I just pull out my phone and reread what I wrote in whatever book I'm working on. Okay, this just really helps me think and just like stay in the writing mood because I'm continuously thinking about my book, and by that I'm able to get like straight into the writing mood, straight motivated, into my writing session as soon as I get home and start writing. Okay, so having that in the back of your mind and being able to like just get inspired by your own work. Like, guys, you don't have to look elsewhere to find inspiration. You can always find inspiration in your own beautiful writing. And of course, if it's something like your first draft, which you are like rereading, sometimes it is like a little bit like, damn, this sucks. Like, damn, like, what am I doing here? Like, there's so many spelling mistakes, but like, no, just like look over that. Think about your characters, what you wrote, it really does help. The next thing that also really helps is talking about your book. Again, these are all tips just to kind of get re-inspired, re-motivated to finish your book by talking about your book to other people, to even yourself. Like, low-key, what I like to do, I haven't done this for a while, but something that I feel like not many people do, maybe I'm just weird, but I like to like sit on my bed and pretend I'm being interviewed by like a news person, or just like, getting an interview, right? And like they're asking me like, oh my gosh, like what was your debut novel? Like a lot of people love your work. Have you seen any like fan fiction? And like they ask you so many questions. Just like imagine these questions and like answer. Is this weird? I feel like I do it. I'm not sure about you, but I feel like it's it's just something I like to do. But hopefully that will inspire you to just like remember why you started writing, and just like, yeah, just helps you inspire you. I know it's really weird, but it does truly work. It does really. But of course, talking about your book. So in that interview, if you do want to do that, just like talk about your book, what it's about, what you wanted the message to be, like how the characters are and what they mean to you. But also you can talk about your book to other people, like your friends, your family, your cat. It literally doesn't matter, just as long as you're like, getting inspired by your work. And I'm not sure about you, but when I am explaining my books to someone, I just can't stop my smile. I just feel like my characters, my world, like it's mine and it's mine to tell. And by just me having that opportunity just to say what I want to say and just like realizing how special my book is to me because I can see the passion like coming out of my voice. It makes me realize that, yeah, this book needs to be written. Like, yeah, I want to write this book. I want to work hard on this book. And also by telling people, it helps, get yourself accountable, which sometimes is a bad thing. Other times it's a good thing. Most times they don't even remember, so it's totally fine. But yeah, those two things really do help. I also did want to mention my relationship with motivation definitely is very interesting. I guess like motivation, productivity do go hand in hand, and low-key it's kind of toxic, I feel like, in today's age. But I think it's less about motivation when you are writing your book and more about discipline and patience. Being patient with yourself and disciplining yourself through these tips, through these habits, really does like help a ton. Like sometimes it's not even all about motivation and just like having that one, spurt of energy, that like spurt of motivation. Yeah, just like write your book, right? It's about discipline. It's about patience with yourself and knowing that, hey, okay, I'm not feeling it today, so I'm not going to jeopardize me feeling really sucky about this book because I feel really bad right now and I'm going to write it and feel annoyed that I wrote that chapter really bad. Instead, you're going to say, okay, I'm going to take a break from this. I love my story. I need to be in a good headspace for it because it really does mean the world to me. So I'm just going to take a step back, and just relax, okay? That's almost like, what's the word? Being mature with your writing projects, and with your writing in general, right? Because it's like a tip. It's like, yeah, a literal like habit you can practice is to say no and say, okay, I'm not going to be stupid. I'm going to be mature about this and know that I am not feeling it. So I'm just going to like relax, okay? That is all about being disciplined and patient with yourself. And though it might suck and you'd be like, okay, I'm not making much progress because I've been depressed the whole week, just like be mature about it. Just try to understand yourself, be patient with yourself, and know that discipline also is, discipline to take care of yourself and your mental health. So just think about that a little bit, and hopefully that can help you. Whoa, we talked about a lot in this episode. Crazy stuff, crazy stuff. Yeah, also sorry, I'm so still getting used to it. So if like, I'm all over the microphone or something, or I'm like, mumbling, I'm sorry, I'm getting used to it, but thank you for your patience. And of course, oh my gosh, thank you for listening. If you listened all the way through, you're literally a really, I literally love you. I was like, oh really? You're like a real one. A real one. Okay, that's what they call it. Anyways, I love you guys so much. Definitely like comment below how you guys are feeling, how your writing's going, and also please, please comment down below really cool ideas because you guys literally have the coolest ideas. Comment down below your ideas and topics you want to listen to as we go through and start making new episodes. Yeah, I guess I will sign off here, and I just really wish you guys luck in your projects. Sorry, I just like burped again. I like have a really weird thing that I like don't burp, but it's like a hiccup, but it's like silent. Oh my gosh, my stomach. Okay, anyways, I just like ate too much food. Sorry. This is really weird. Anyways, guys, I love you so, so much. Sorry for being really goofy and nervous. It's literally just nervous. That's why my stomach is grumbling. Anyways, I love you guys. I hope to see you in my next episode. Or, oh my gosh, I should have just stopped talking. I'm sorry. Anyways, keep writing, and I hope to see you in my next episode. Bye, Writerly Besties. And as always, keep writing. Bye-bye.